Hello and welcome to Sega News Bits Extra. I'm your host with the mostest, and with me is my man friend, Barry.
Hi. Hello.
Is that how you say it, man friend?
Man friend. Yeah, I guess so. I guess girls call each other girlfriends.
And if you say boy or girl, I mean, that's like putting down the person. So I'm showing you respect by saying man.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I needed that.
Right away, we're going to get right into the news because we have a lot to cover this week, including the fact that we're going to get the first 4 Virtual-On games, or the first 3, Virtual-On games, including the first one, Virtual-On, which is basically just that. The sequel, which one was that one called?
Oratorio Tangram.
And Force was the 4th one. And Force, I remember that one came out on the Xbox 360, right? A couple of these have, right? The first one and Force, right?
That's right. Yeah, Force was on the 360, but not released in America. I think if it came out now, it would have come out in America, but it was just at that time when nothing was coming over here from Japan.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree with you, and I think it's pretty cool that they're finally putting them in one collection. I kind of wish that Sega would do a lot more of this. I know that Capcom's been doing this. They did the beat-em-up thing on the Nintendo Switch. I like that they're doing this, but it feels still, to me, at least as a Sega fan, that Virtual-On is still a very Japanese-centric franchise because, like, we haven't gotten that other game, right? The magical whatever anime spin-off one.
Yeah, a certain magical Virtual-On.
So, yeah, that's kind of weird. They also funded Sticks. It's funny because, like, they call it Twin Stick Project Z, and they did like a Kickstarter campaign or campfire campaign, and it actually got funded in 12 hours. I think they wanted like what, $50,000 or something like that. So yeah, something like that. And so yeah, these games are coming at least for Japan. We don't know about the US. And personally, I'm kind of aching for like a mech game in the US. I feel like Sega's kind of been ignoring it. We haven't got Border Break. We haven't got the other Virtual-On. And I really hope that we at least get these retro titles. I think they'd be good for like a nice $20 budget, like a physical copy of it in the store. That'd be pretty cool. What do you think?
For sure. Yeah, I'd love to buy this.
Yeah, do you think that Sega would just go all digital with this one, or you think they'll release a physical version?
I think they probably would go digital, but because I mean, if Sonic Mania didn't get a physical release at first, I can't see this getting one. But I'd love to see this in the US.
I agree with you. I would buy it. But next bit of news. This one has you happy, right? Sega Shop adds Jet Set Radio merchandise. And it's the 1-year anniversary of the shop. Yeah,
the shop turned 1 year old just last week. It's kind of funny, though. They had a promo code that I was going to mention when I wrote the story. And I checked. The promo code expired in 2 days, so it's gone. But... I think the merch looks pretty decent. I just had a few complaints when I wrote my article.
Yeah, you can walk them through the merchandise and tell them what you had an issue with.
Yeah, for sure. So the lineup, I think this is the most diverse lineup they've done for a game. Typically it's, Altered Beast, and it's like a mouse pad, a t-shirt, But in this case, pretty basic. This one, they have 9 items, so you get... There's a Jet Set Radio yellow ringer tee, which looks... My issue is they're not saying whose shirts these are, so it's Beat's shirt. And it looks... I think it looks decent, but you don't see the back, so I don't think it has the logo on the back, which kind of makes it not
obsolete.
Very... Yeah, it's 30... Yeah. Well, it's $30, and the one from Insert Coin Tees looks more like the game one, has all the logos, and that's also $30. So... The denim jacket I think looks really cool. It doesn't really fit with the... I mean, I think it looks cool. It's just not something that's from the game or anything.
Yeah, that's true.
It's still cool. The hoodie here... Is this Yo-Yo? That's not Yo-Yo. No, is that... Well, that's Korn.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he doesn't really wear anything like that. Does he? I don't think so. I'm trying to remember... Oh man, I haven't played Jet Set. Oh, he wears a jumpsuit. That's right. So it's not really like Korn. And then the patches I think look nice. The water bottle, they could have made it look like the spray can. It doesn't really look like the game spray can at all.
No, it doesn't.
The glasses, I think, look cheap and are not worth $13. I mean, Beat doesn't even wear glasses, he wears goggles. Now, the yellow hoodie, I think, is a really cool one. It's Beat's design, front, back, looks really nice. The stencil looks like a waste of money because you could basically print this out, cut it out yourself with an X-Acto knife and save $13 plus shipping. And then the tablet case, I think, looks cool. It's just a shame that they don't have more photos of it because the preview, it's folded over so I can't see what I'm looking at. Like, what am I getting? And it's expensive, $25. But I mean, you know, it sounds like I'm complaining, but I'm really happy to see this set. I think the patches are very cool, and I actually do like the tablet case. I think it's modeled after the boombox that Combo carries around.
So anything on here that you like, that you are gonna buy with your actual hard-earned bucks?
There's some Sonic Mania items I actually wanted to get already. So if I did get anything, man, the problem is I think it's just everything's a little too expensive to just like throw onto an order. Like $25 is a lot.
Especially when there's like so much Sega stuff coming out. Like, I don't want to be a dick, but like there's so much like records and like all this other stuff they're licensing to other companies. That's also pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden now they have their own shop and they're like, we're officially bringing you cool stuff too. And it's like, fuck, that's a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah. I honestly, I don't think I'm gonna get anything from this just because if I did get something, it would be the Beat shirt. But then I'd rather get the insert coins version. So.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking about getting too. And then when you told me that, I was like, yeah, this is a little off. Like, when I saw it, I was like, this isn't like a replica.
Yeah.
I thought it would have been cool if they did some of like shirts for the other characters because they all had kind of like unique shirts.
Right.
Or at least most of them did. So like, it would have been cool if they saw some of the more obscure characters.
Yeah, they should have represented more of the obscure ones like you mentioned, and you know, the insert coin ones I'm looking at, it's great. They actually have been working on it. So this is the 2018 version. So there's previous versions that didn't look as good. So the fact that, you know, they put extra work into this says something. But anyway, you know,
and I don't think Sega's gonna take feedback and change designs because I don't know. It could be kind of weird. I don't know how fans would feel like, oh, cool, I just bought this shirt, and then all of a sudden it's the next year it's changed to be more authentic. It'd be like, oh, I'd have to rebuy it again. So it's $60 you got me, Sega.
Exactly.
So the next story we're talking about today is okay. Yakuza 4 launches on the PlayStation 4 in Japan on January 17, 2019. But that's not the story I want to talk about. I want to talk about them recasting one of the main characters, Masayoshi Tanamura. I probably said that wrong, and that's one of the things that I don't like about Yakuza games. They have very, very Japanese names, and I'm so bad at it. But he's basically the cop from Yakuza 4. He's one of the 4 playable characters. Apparently, the voice actor that played him retired, and Sega wanted him to come back into the studio and re-record some of his voice lines, and like, because they changed them slightly. And he basically retired, so instead Sega had to hire a new actor for him, redo all the lines, and they changed the model. And here's the new model with the old model, as you could see.
Wow.
And he looks more like Kazuma Kiryu. They gave him the little butt chin strap like hair.
Yeah.
On his chin, and they gave him a more like, I don't know, long haircut. Like they just made him part it instead of it being on his face. So, what do you think about the changes? And, like, I don't know, like, a lot of people have been saying on forums that the reason that this character hasn't been brought back is because the actor retired and they couldn't do it legally. I don't know how that works in Japan. If it's about respect, I don't know what it is, but that's a lot of work, don't you think, just for somebody not wanting to come back?
Yeah.
And the character doesn't even look like him, by the way.
Yeah,
so
I think it's really strange, but, you know, we've talked about this, I think, with Project Judge, where people were worried that they were putting a very well-known actor as the main character, and it's like, well, what if he doesn't want to do sequels? Here's kind of an example of, you know, relying on real people to play your characters. You recast them, and it's kind of surprising. I guess I can understand why they did this, but man, You know, it's like, what's going to happen in future games? You know?
Yeah, when people said that, like, oh, there's going to be an issue when they re-release it, I was like, no, there isn't. They'll just re-release it like it's in their contract. But like the fact that this character wasn't even modeled after the actor. He's like an older guy, and he just voiced him, and then they had to change his look.
Right.
For this.
Right.
It's so weird. It's just like a lot of work. Like I wonder what would happen when. Like, there's a lot of games right now, like, I don't know, Beyond Two Souls and all these, like, cinematic games that hire Hollywood actors.
Right.
Are they going to be able to re-release it in the future? That's going to be weird, right?
They might not be able to. Yeah, that's a good point.
And what do you think about this? Does this make you rethink, I guess, buying Yakuza 4 again on PlayStation 4, or is it not that big a deal?
No, it doesn't bother me in the slightest. I just... you know, I have no connection to the character or anything, but it does make me wonder if Sega's going to be rethinking their contracts moving forward.
And if I was Sega, I would be, you know what I mean? Because, like, you got to have it on there that they could re-release in the future. Even if you're giving them I mean, they have no say, but they get a cut of the money. I think that would be fair for their performances. But, yeah, I want to see how this guy plays the character. So, to me, it's like, wow, I get new content in this port. Like, I get to see another person's take on this character, so I kind of want to see how it goes. I'm more wondering, maybe it is worse, maybe it's not. We'll see in the future. The last bit of news, and this one's a lot. Sega Aegis team not ruling out Saturn and Dreamcast games in the future. And there's a little bit more things I want to talk about in this, because they talk a lot about the pool a lot. You know, the pool we had? We had a lot of questions last time we covered it. One of the questions we had was, did they know that Americans and other people were voting? And the answer is yes, they did know. Because apparently, according to them, the last time they did this pool, they did it when 3D Archives Volume 2 came out. And the ones they voted for came out on Volume 3 for the 3DS. And they said when they did the voting there, you had to buy Archives 2 to vote. And they said the voting was totally different, obviously, because they're more hardcore fans. And this one was open to anybody. And when they talked about Jet Set Radio winning #1, they said, well, that the composer Hideki Naganuma himself went out and like told fans to vote for it. So he says that like obviously it won #1 because of that. So they brought that up. They even brought up the idea that like some newer games are being pulling, like Mushikin. They're like, that's in arcades. That's ridiculous. That's not what this project's about, basically. So that made sense. They had let me see the notes. They had what's her name? Ryoki. I can't say Japanese names. The girl that did Phantasy Star and Skies of Arcadia, she was there. She talked about Deep Fear and how much it meant to her that it was on here. And she also said that she's happy that Eternal Arcadia, aka Skies of Arcadia in America, was on this pool because she wants a remake, but she doesn't want to do it herself. It just tells you that this game was probably like a mess, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, and outside of that, they said that since they started the project, the idea of having these Sega Saturn games and Dreamcast was always the plan. It was always supposed to be like ambitious, right? Like go to the more technology advanced games. And it's not really new for them. They even talk about how they used to do Dynamite Cop, and they did other ones for the PS2 version. So what do you think about them basically saying, yeah, Dreamcast and Saturn are in our wheelhouse?
I think that's great. I just hope that they don't replicate efforts already done. I think just porting the Jet Set Radio we already have would be smarter than them going through this whole process again. Spend time on games that haven't had re-releases is what I would want.
And any games that haven't had re-releases that you would want?
Oh boy, there's not that many. I guess Virtua Fighter 3 TB, has that been re-released?
Not recently, no. And there's a lot of fans for it. Maybe even do the final arcade release of that release. I don't know if that was the final one, because they always do updates,
Right, of course. I think that would be a great one. Honestly, I'm trying to think. of games that are exclusive to Dreamcast and that Sega specifically made. Dynamite Cop 2, that might be a good one.
Yeah.
But again, a lot of them are arcade ports. So Crazy Taxi 2.
That's good. That's a good one.
Yeah. That'd be a good one.
One thing that got me even more excited than
Yeah.
all these Dreamcast and Sega Saturn games, and trust me, Sega Saturn and Dreamcast games get me very excited, but was when they talked about the fact that they want to make a Fantasy Zone style. If you guys didn't know, Fantasy Zone 1 came out on the Sega 16 board. Fantasy Zone 2 came out on the Master System. So M2 remade Fantasy Zone on the Sega 16 board, and they said they want to do the same thing with Space Harrier 2, which is basically the same idea. It was made on the Genesis instead of arcade, and that got me excited because I really loved the Fantasy Zone 2 port. What do you think about this? You're one of those guys that really likes Space Harrier, and Space Harrier 2 never got an arcade release.
I'd love that. I'd love to see Space Harrier 2 brought into the, aesthetics and feel of the first one, because there is a really great game there, but I think it gets lost on just what they're able to do with the Genesis hardware. And it is a great game, but yeah, that would be awesome.
And that's basically most of what they interviewed for. They talked a lot about Deep Fear. They talked a lot about what these games meant to them. And it's a very interesting interview. You guys can see it in Famitsu. It's in Japanese. Hopefully somebody translates it, and we'll post the translated interview on our website. But for right now, that's all we have to talk about this week. Anything you want to add, Barry?
No, but I want to thank everyone for supporting us, and hopefully some news hits. I want some big news.
See you guys next week.
All right.